You are standing by the coffee urn. It is Sunday morning. Mrs. Helen from the choir walks up. She is smiling warmly. You have known her for 10 years. You know her face instantly. You love her singing voice. But her name? It is completely gone. Your mind locks up. It is a perfect, terrifying blank slate. You fumble your words badly. You say something like, "How wonderful to see you, dear." You call her sweetie because you cannot retrieve the simple sound of her name. You walk away from the conversation feeling cold sweat on your back. That terrible feeling of failing. Is this just normal aging? Is this what getting older truly means? Or is something actually fundamentally wrong? We all misplace our reading glasses sometimes. We forget where we parked the car. That type of minor forgetfulness is frustrating, yes, but it is largely normal. But forgetting the name of someone you see every single week, someone you value, that feels different entirely. That feels like a switch suddenly flipped off inside your head. It brings a sudden, sharp, and heavy fear. The crushing fear of cognitive decline. The immediate thought is always the same. Is this the beginning of dementia? Is Alzheimer's starting its silent, terrible work? It is a terrifying thought that keeps many of us awake at 3 a.m. Today, doctors are changing what they warn us about most urgently. They say, stop jumping immediately to the worst conclusion. Before you allow that panic to take hold, before you dread your next social outing, you must check for one critical factor. A factor that is easily fixable. A nutritional lack that so perfectly mimics severe neurological disease, it is frequently misdiagnosed in the elderly. A deficiency that often goes completely undiagnosed in people over the age of 60. This lack is the direct biochemical reason you are suddenly forgetting names at church or during your weekly book club. The culprit is incredibly simple. It is a vitamin we require for every single nerve cell to function properly. We are talking about vitamin B12. Also known as cobalamin. If your B12 levels drop too low, your nervous system begins to starve. Your sensitive nerve linings start to fray and deteriorate. Your occasional brain fog suddenly becomes a thick, heavy blanket that blocks simple recall. We need to understand why people over 60 are the most vulnerable group. This is the key point. It is usually not about eating enough B12. It is about the biological mechanics of absorbing it. As we mature, our stomach acid production naturally weakens. Many common medications further suppress this acid. Stomach acid is absolutely essential. It is the chemical trigger needed to release B12 from the food protein we eat. If you cannot release the B12, you cannot absorb the B12. Your body begins to starve for it, even if your daily diet is rich in meat, fish, and dairy. You can eat a perfect steak dinner and still your nerves suffer. The problem is the factory gate, not the supply truck. Doctors have now pinpointed 3 critical warning signs that this deficiency is active and dangerous in your body. These 3 signs often appear years before any truly serious, irreversible nerve damage occurs. You need to see them clearly, and you need to act fast. The first sign is exactly the situation you experienced this morning. It is the specific and persistent failure of retrieval memory. This is known as the tip of the tongue phenomenon, but happening constantly. This is not forgetting where you left your wallet yesterday. This is having a word or a name right there, trapped behind a sudden solid wall of fog. Names are consistently the hardest things to retrieve. They are highly specific, isolated pieces of information in your brain's vast database. When B12 levels are low, it significantly damages the speed and efficiency with which your brain can connect the dots and pull that name out of storage. The intense embarrassment you feel, that sudden shock, is a direct, measurable symptom of this nutritional lack. Your difficulty remembering names is not necessarily the slow start of a terminal disease. It is often a loud, clear signal of a treatable nutritional crisis. This name-forgetting problem is just the first signal. It is a whisper from your stressed nervous system. But there are 2 other distinct physical signs you must watch for immediately. Signs that show this B12 crisis is moving beyond just your memory. We must next discuss the strange electrical feelings in your extremities, the uncomfortable tingling that feels like pins and needles. We must also look closely at a specific change in the color of your skin and the texture of your tongue. These two critical physical signs, combined with your sudden memory troubles, create a perfect profile of severe B12 deficiency. It is a profile that requires urgent action. Bridge to Part 2. Next, we discuss why B12 deficiency leads to physical pain and the surprising visual warning sign doctors often miss. We are talking about more than just a little brain fog. This is a physical issue starving the command center of your brain. If you are experiencing those sudden social blanks, if you are forgetting names right after they are introduced, doctors now point to a specific nutritional deficiency that causes these exact symptoms in seniors. It is not just aging, it is a lack of vitamin B12. Why B12? Think of B12 as the insulation wrapped around the electrical wires in your home. These wires are your nerves. This insulation is called the myelin sheath. Every memory, every word spoken, every name you recall relies on fast, clean electrical transmission down these nerves. When you reach 60, your body's ability to absorb B12 from food drastically decreases. This is often due to reduced stomach acid. Without sufficient B12, that protective myelin sheath begins to fray and degrade. The electrical signals leak out. The transmission slows down. The name of your friend, which should instantly pop up, gets stuck in the slow lane. The signal is interrupted or never fully makes the connection to the recall center. This is the mechanical reason behind that sudden freezing embarrassment you feel in social settings. But the real danger, the one doctors warn about today, is that the first signs of B12 deficiency are rarely mental. They are physical. We are going to reveal the 3 crucial warning signs that millions of seniors dismiss as just being tired or just getting old. You must watch for these 3 signs because catching them early can reverse the memory effects completely. Waiting too long risks permanent nerve damage. The 3 urgent warning signs. Sign number 1, the phantom tingle. Have you ever woken up with a persistent strange feeling in your hands or feet? It is often described as pins and needles, a faint buzzing, or maybe a slight numbness when you are handling small objects, like sorting pills or buttoning a shirt. This is called peripheral neuropathy. It is often the first physical manifestation of B12 deficiency attacking the farthest nerve endings. Many seniors dismiss this sensation. They blame poor circulation. They blame an old injury. They blame standing too long at the stove. But if this tingling persists, or if your feet feel strangely heavy or off balance when you walk, your peripheral nerve myelin is being destroyed by B12 depletion. If the B12 deficiency is left uncorrected, that tingle can turn into chronic pain and severe mobility issues. Do not ignore the faint buzzing in your toes. It is the first alarm bell. Sign number 2, the crushing, unexplained fatigue. We all get tired, but B12 deficiency fatigue is different. It is overwhelming. It is the kind of exhaustion that is not fixed by a nap. It is the kind of fatigue that causes you to cancel social plans you were looking forward to. It causes you to skip the evening walk you promised yourself you would take. Why does B12 cause this profound physical exhaustion? B12 is essential for producing healthy red blood cells. Without it, your body develops a condition called megaloblastic anemia. Your red blood cells become too large and inefficient. They cannot deliver oxygen effectively throughout your body, especially to your brain and muscles. You feel winded just walking up one flight of stairs. You feel weak when carrying groceries from the car. Your heart might pound slightly, trying to compensate for the lack of oxygen. This anemia is a critical sign that your B12 stores are empty. And when the body is busy struggling to breathe and move, it cannot prioritize memory and name retrieval. If you find yourself constantly saying, "I just don't have the energy today," even when you slept well, you must consider vitamin B12. Sign number 3, the social freeze and slow processing. This is the direct cognitive effect, linking straight back to that embarrassing moment at church or the bridge club. This sign manifests as slowing down. It is the moment you know a name, but your brain buffer is slow to load it. It is the need to read a sentence 2 or 3 times before the meaning clicks. It is struggling to keep up with fast-paced conversation because your processing speed has declined noticeably. Remember, B12 ensures fast communication between brain regions. A deficiency essentially creates traffic jams on the highway of your mind. You might feel foggy. You might feel apathetic. B12 deficiency is strongly linked to symptoms of depression, which further compounds memory problems. Lack of motivation and persistent low mood are not just mental states, they can be physical evidence of a neurological nutrient deficiency. If you find yourself avoiding gatherings simply because you fear that moment of cognitive failure, recognize this as a serious signal, not a character flaw. The misleading nature of standard testing. This is perhaps the most important detail doctors are emphasizing today. When you go to your physician and request a B12 test, the standard reference ranges used by labs are often too wide for optimal senior health. A reading that is considered normal for a 30-year-old might be dangerously low for someone over 65 who relies on sharp recall and fast processing. We often see patients with B12 readings in the low to mid-200s, and they are told they are fine. But for brain health, many specialists recommend levels closer to 500 picograms per milliliter. If you are experiencing any of the 3 signs, the tingling, the crushing fatigue, or the social memory failures, even if your doctor says your B12 is technically in the normal range, you need to dig deeper. You need to ask for a specific test, a methylmalonic acid test, or MMA. When your body lacks B12, levels of MMA rise rapidly. A high MMA reading proves that the deficiency is active at the cellular level, regardless of a borderline blood reading. This test cuts through the confusion. Recognizing these 3 signs is the essential first step to reclaiming your memory and confidence, but we cannot stop here. In the next part, we tackle the action steps. We will discuss the specific foods you must eat to maximize absorption, the 2 forms of B12 supplements you need to choose between, and the exact dosage needed to halt the cognitive decline and rebuild those fragile nerve sheaths. Stay with us, because fixing this deficiency is easier than you think, but it requires precise knowledge. We've already seen the subtle gradual slide in mental sharpness. We have seen the specific warning signs in your fatigue levels and the inexplicable exhaustion that sets in mid-afternoon. But now we must look at the third and perhaps most concerning physical symptom. This is the sign that doctors often overlook. It is the one symptom patients typically attribute simply to just getting older. This third, critical sign is all about your feet and your balance. Do you feel a strange tingling sensation? Maybe pins and needles that start in your toes and creep up your legs. This sensation, known as peripheral neuropathy, is a direct signal that your nervous system is struggling severely. For years, you might have told yourself your shoes are too tight. You might think you slept funny on your arm. But if this feeling is persistent, if it happens regularly, it is a critical warning signal. Remember, this essential vitamin is crucial for maintaining the protective covering around your nerves. This protective coating is called the myelin sheath. When the vitamin levels drop too low, that vital sheath starts to degrade. Your nerves cannot transmit signals properly between your body and your brain. This lack of proper communication does not just cause tingling. It causes unsteadiness. It causes coordination issues. Suddenly, you hesitate on stairs. You might shuffle your feet slightly more when you walk across the kitchen floor. You might catch your toe on the edge of the rug more often than you used to. This instability is the greatest danger. If your balance is even slightly off, it dramatically increases your risk of falling. For people over 60, a serious fall can instantly change the entire trajectory of your life. This is why this deficiency is so urgent. This is no longer just about forgetting names during a social gathering. This is about physical safety and maintaining your independence. Your body is telling you in clear physical terms that the deficiency has progressed beyond mild memory fog. It is now damaging the wiring system of your body. You might be thinking right now, I eat plenty of meat, chicken, and eggs. I eat enough of this vitamin. And while it is absolutely true that this vitamin is abundant in animal products, absorption is the cruel trick of aging. We briefly mentioned stomach acid earlier. Let's look closer at why diet alone often fails us now. To successfully pull this vitamin out of the food you eat, your stomach must release two things: strong stomach acid and a specialized protein called intrinsic factor. The stomach acid separates the vitamin from the food protein. The intrinsic factor then grabs hold of the liberated vitamin and carries it safely into your bloodstream. As we age, our stomachs naturally produce less and less acid. Furthermore, many common medications dramatically suppress whatever stomach acid you do have left. Think about prescriptions you might take for reflux, heartburn, or GERD. These are designed to lower acid. This creates the absorption trap. You can eat a perfect diet, loaded with the critical nutrient, but your body cannot break the vitamin free from the food structure. It simply passes right through your system, unused. This means diet alone is often powerless to correct a deficiency that might have been slowly worsening for decades. You need a targeted approach. But before we get to the solution, you need confirmation. This is the critical step you must take right now. You must speak to your primary care doctor immediately and request a specific blood test. Do not just ask for a routine yearly blood panel. Specifically request a serum level test for this vitamin. We recommend asking specifically for this level because standard lab ranges often consider a level normal, even when it is low enough to be causing significant neurological symptoms like the tingling or the memory loss we discussed. You should aim for the high end of the scale, not just the low-end definition of normal. If your doctor dismisses your concerns about tingling feet, unsteadiness, or memory fog, ask them this question firmly: could this be related to my vitamin levels? You need hard data before you start supplementation. Once you have that data, we can implement the fix. In our final segment, we will detail the exact type of supplement your aging gut can absorb effectively. We will give you the critical dosage required to reverse these signs and help you regain your sharp memory and stable balance. Stay with us. We are just moments away from outlining the specific solution that doctors are now recommending for adults over 60 who are struggling with these preventable memory issues. Now that you know the three major warnings, the creeping fatigue, the strange tingling in your hands, and the sudden shifts in mood, the next step is action. You do not have to live with the fear of forgetting. You do not have to stand silently when you draw a blank on a friend's name. The solution starts right now, but it requires a conversation with your doctor. The first, most crucial step is simple. Get the blood test. It is a specific test for serum vitamin B12 levels. Do not accept a vague answer that everything looks fine, because here's what doctors often miss when reading these results for people over 60. Traditional laboratory ranges for B12 may be too broad. Many doctors consider anything over 200 picograms per milliliter acceptable. But for optimal brain function, especially as we age, many specialists agree that levels should be significantly higher. Aiming for 400 to 600 picograms per milliliter is often recommended to truly support your memory and nerve health. Write that number down if you need to, 400 to 600. Ask your doctor specifically about optimizing your levels, not just avoiding a severe deficiency. This is the difference between surviving and thriving. The second crucial step is understanding absorption. If you are over 60, chances are your stomach acid levels are naturally lower. This acid is what separates vitamin B12 from the food protein it is attached to. Less acid means less B12 absorption. Furthermore, many seniors take common medications, like those for heartburn or reflux, and these drugs drastically reduce acid production even further. This is a double whammy against your B12 levels. This is why, even if you eat plenty of meat, you can still be severely deficient. Your diet may be excellent, but your body cannot pull the vitamin out of the food. So, how do we fix absorption issues? We bypass the stomach. Talk to your physician about shifting to a high-quality B12 supplement that avoids the digestive process entirely. The two most effective ways for people over 60 are sublingual drops or B12 injections. Sublingual means under the tongue. The vitamin dissolves directly into the tiny blood vessels there, skipping the need for stomach acid. This method is highly effective and easy to incorporate into your morning routine. Put the drops under your tongue while you brew your coffee. Let it dissolve fully before swallowing. This simple 2-minute step can restart your memory machine. For those with very severe or long-standing deficiency, or those whose digestive tract simply cannot handle any absorption, injections may be necessary. These are often given initially once a week and then monthly for maintenance. While this might sound intimidating, these shots are simple, quick, and deliver the most direct, powerful dose right where your body needs it, your nerves, and your brain. Once you begin treatment, the changes won't happen overnight, but they will happen steadily. First, you will notice the change in energy. That constant, crushing fatigue that made you want to stay on the sofa will begin to lift within a few weeks. You will feel lighter when you get out of bed. Next, the strange sensations, the pins and needles that felt like static electricity in your feet or fingers, will start to fade. This is a clear sign that your nervous system is repairing itself. But the real, rewarding change comes when you step back into that social setting. Think about walking into the community center next week. Imagine catching sight of that friend you used to see weekly. Instead of that stressful split-second panic where your mind races for their name, the information simply flows. You meet their eyes and say, "Hello, Martha. It's so good to see you again." No hesitation, no awkward silence, just confidence and connection. That feeling of regaining control over your memory is priceless. It removes that wall of anxiety that has kept you holding back in conversations. You're no longer worried about making a mistake or offending someone by calling them the wrong name. Your social life opens up again. This simple vitamin solution is not just about fixing a number on a lab test. It is about fixing your social confidence. It is about repairing the embarrassment and the frustration that aging sometimes brings. It is about letting you be fully present in your life, enjoying your friends and family without the shadow of forgetfulness hanging over you. Now, while B12 is often the missing piece in the memory puzzle, it rarely acts alone. There's a deeply interconnected relationship between this vitamin and other critical nutrients. Specifically, many of the symptoms that overlap with B12 deficiency, fatigue and mood changes, can also be triggered by low levels of what some doctors are now calling the sunshine hormone. This other common deficiency works silently too, undermining your physical strength and your mental clarity, especially during the long winter months. If fixing your B12 has given you hope, you need to know about this second nutrient that doctors are increasingly worried about. Do not let one deficiency recovery stall out because you missed the other one. We will cover the critical link between your memory, your mood, and this sunshine hormone, and the simple, safe way to test and fix it right at home in the next segment. Stay with us.